Clerk, will you please call the roll for attendance or check in at your computer?
Commissioner Kenlock,
Present.
Commissioner Clemente, Commissioner Baydoun,
Here.
Vice Chair Palomero,
Here.
Chair Mareki has requested an excuse. You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Madam Clerk,
B, Chair's remarks.
I have none. Madam Clerk.
C, approval of the February 25th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion on approval of the minutes? Is voting people able to vote? Very good. Vote at your station.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Madam Clerk,
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
next item.
Moving to item 1, under new business, a discussion of the 2024-2025 Township Initiative Paving Program criteria.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As we're joined at the table by members of the Public Services, Dio, and your team, whoever is going to discuss the Township Initiative Paving Program, please join us at this time. And while you're coming to the table, and the more the merrier, I just would like to give an overview today, in my view. And I've discussed this with Chair Mareki, who is participating by Zoom at this time. This will be an overview of the entire program. Out of respect for everyone's time, this will not be I have a township, I have a road that needs to get fixed, when are we going to fix it? That's going to be a discussion that you can have, you individual commissioners can have with the administration. Ashley has volunteered to be the point person. You want to stand up, Ashley? And if you have those questions, feel free to get with Ashley after the meeting. In the meantime, Mr. Dial, go right ahead.
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. My goal today is to discuss with you and the entire community about the 2024-25 Township Initiative Paving Program. Before I go ahead and dive into the details of the plan, I want to let you all know that we've been talking to different communities. We have 9 townships, and Wayne County is responsible for a lot of the roads in those townships. And there's a lot of need. Of the townships, we have almost 1,000 lane miles of township roads. A good 34%, 326 of those miles are in poor condition. So I just wanted to put it out there. I'm aware of the condition of our roadways. They are not all in pristine condition. This is an old county. A lot of those roads have been built a long time. So the commission came to that awareness a few years ago and set aside money to address the township. You all set aside $7 million a year. $7 million is a lot of money, but when it comes to road, $7 million only goes so far. Again, I wanted to put out the magnitude of the problems that we have in our hands. That said, we've also heard from some communities that we're putting out the program at this point. They don't have enough time to design the roads this year. I want to put it out there that this is expected to be a multi-year, and you can begin design for this year and do the construction next year. Just wanted to put it out there. This is not a one and done. And if you don't have enough this year to match or get to maximize the advantage, you can also do that in the future years. I'm going to read some of the things, the highlight of the proposal that we sent to you all. And you can also see that the county is there to support the community. My Department of Public Services, we're going to be there to be engineers to townships that don't have engineering, to be contractors or construction company to township who may not have the capacity. Those are the immediate point I wanted to put out there. Then I'll go through and the chair, I know we don't want to go into the details of back and forth, but if the commissioners have questions, I'm willing to take them. So let me just go through them. We want to make sure that the roads that we're going to address are public roads that are in townships, not private roads, because not all the roads are open and public. We're going to select the roads based on the roads that exhibit significant pavement deterioration and distresses or water damage. We will put the responsibility on the township to identify those. Again, we learn from lessons. We learn our lessons. If we go to township and just say, this is your priority one, that's your priority two, I think we're in for trouble. We want the township to develop the list for us. We're going to prioritize with the township roads that will impact emergency services, roads that are high traffic areas, roads that lead to schools. We work with the township to make sure that if you're prioritizing, you consider those three factors. The commissioners have put aside $7 million for paving for this fiscal year. We're proposing that it will be a 1-to-1 match. Multiple reasons for that. We just told you the amount of the magnitude of the problem we have. If you put $7 million there, it will just be a drop in the bucket. We think we should find a way to leverage the $7 million you have proposed. We're aware some communities have already, so there are some HOAs that are trying to get some of the roads done. There's some communities that may have put aside some funds, but we're also aware there are a lot of communities who have not put aside. But we want this to be an opportunity that in the future years, they can begin to put themselves in a position where they can maximize this. So we're proposing 1-to-1 match. Therefore, we can leverage double the amount of money, quite frankly, more than double, because if each of the 9 communities is able to provide up to $1 million, it will become 18 million. That means I'm in trouble now. I need to find a way to make the difference, right? So maximum of $1 million on the 1-to-1 match. Now, if at the first round, we have money left over because some communities only able to take advantage of 50%, then we would re-up the program and make it open and competitive for whoever county that can match the leftover of that fund. Going ahead to page 2, we're going to talk about compliance and standard. This job will need to be done, and they must adhere to the highest standard. Contractors and materials to be used on the job must meet MDOT and Wayne County specification. Application and documentation, we're going to roll out an application within 48 hours of your approval to ensure that, and we will work with the township to capture information, project description, available plans, photographs, maps, length of the job, width of the road, width of the right-of-way, width of the traffic lanes, and their justification for that project, to select that project above else. Again, we spoke about traffic, we spoke about emergency, we spoke about schools. Those are good justification. Reporting and accountability, we expect progress report from the township to us. Projects are subject to inspection and audit so that we know that the county's funds is going to the right project and to the right causes. DPS will have its own responsibility. Wayne County's responsibility, we will review the permits. we will grant, bless you, we'll grant permits at no cost. So we'll work hand in hand with the township. So there will be no cost permit. Now, we are, like I said earlier, we are aware that some counties, some township will not be able to perform the work or willing to perform the work. If they are not willing, they can request from us, and we'll work with them. We'll be their engineers and their contractors and their construction company. Quite frankly, we have a couple of contracts in place that we can ride on with minimum amendment here and there to take care of this program if requested. And we can do that in 2025, and we can do that in future years. Township responsibilities. The township shall perform all preliminary engineering or have them performed by a company that is pre-qualified by MDOT, or they can have us perform it for them. Township shall arrange for contract bidding and award of the contract and administer the contract, or they can have us do it for them. Township will perform construction engineering, or they can have their construction engineering done by an MDOT pre-qualified firm. They will perform all the quality control testing on the job. They will appoint an engineer for the construction work, which is going to be their construction engineering firm. They must apply for and meet all of our Wayne County permit, which will be required. Again, we're going to issue the permit for free. However, we will require that their contractors secure all the cash bonds or irrevocable letter of credit to make sure the job is done. And if they damage somebody's house or somebody's car or whatever, or public utility, they're able to fix it. They shall keep records. The payment will be made upon invoice, and we would make sure we pay or reimburse or make them whole within 60 days of receipt of invoices. Our goal is to begin this job, this program, March 17. Today is March.
That's next
11th.
Monday.
So next week, Monday, right? We'll give 3 weeks to work back and forth with the township. And the application will be in over a 3-week period. We'll make an announcement within a 10-day period. If there's a leftover fund, an obligated or unused fund, we'll have a second round opportunity that will begin the following day, and they will have about 2 weeks. We expect that township will have a list of projects that they're working with. So this is the highlight of the program. I have the Deputy Director for DPS Overroad, Scott Cabowatton, here, and I have the Assistant Division Director of Engineering, Alan Cole, here. And of course, we have the Commission Liaison, Ms. Ashley McAdoo, here as well. So if you have any question or any suggestion or any recommendation, I'm willing to take it.
Thank you. Director, Commissioner Kinloch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I heard you reference, I know you recently joined us, and I want to commend you for the job well done and how you just grabbed the bull by the horn and have put together this program that we have for a few years been looking forward to receiving from the administration. One thing that you keep, like I said, you keep referencing, $7 million. The commission in its budget last fiscal year allocated or appropriated $7 million, which was not used. And it is the intent and understanding from the commission that that money dropped to the bottom of the fund balance. So as we appropriated the additional funds for this fiscal year, it was our intention in that establishment of the additional $7 million that there's more than $7 million that's available for this particular program. And then we will discuss as we're developing the upcoming budget based upon conversations with you now that we have this program established and talking with the executive and the, like I said, the administration. We'll discuss whether or not additional funds based upon recommendations from the administration, whether we should allocate additional funds. So right now, it's not 7 million, it's more than that. And I'd like to ask the staff, between both those fiscal years, between both those allocations, what is that dollar amount to our fiscal advisor?
Through the chair, Terrence Adams, Chief Fiscal Advisor. So it should be a total of 14 million. 7 million was allocated, as Commissioner said, in fiscal year 23-24. Nothing was done. The administration asked if we can put a pause so that a program or further instructions can be developed. And as we did the budget season, another 7 million was budgeted for 24-25, but we still had the 7 million in 23-24 that could have been utilized, which that money falls to the bottom line, can be reallocated into this new fiscal year with a certification of $7 million into that line item.
And the Committee of Ways and Means would be welcome that recertification. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, I don't know if you know, I'm a recovering engineer, okay? So one of the best music to my ears is I have enough money to do a lot more roads. So good news for me. I will also let you know, though, I had asked our agency CFO, they confirmed that 7 million. I've heard the information about that. So I'm going to work with Mr. Adams to make sure that we can validate that. That allows us to do potentially 28, close to $30 million of work over the next, this year and next year. With the ones that's coming, I couldn't be asking for a better news. So this is good news for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baydoun.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you answered part of my question. So this would give you a leverage of $28 million to be spent. Now, in light of this new news from Ways and Means Chair, are you going to be more aggressive in terms of paving the badly deteriorated the township roads? Are you going to be more aggressive, in other words, or are you just going to have to work according to your plans that you outlined?
Thank you very much, Commissioner. The plan, I think, is the plan, it's a general framework. It just allows us to do more. So, for example, hypothetically, whereas a township will say, we want to do 3 miles of roadway. Now they can come and say, we want to do 6 miles, right? We'll cost that. If that 6 mile is more than $2 million or 1 point whatever million dollars, right? We'll pick the 4 or 5 miles that fit their budget that year. We'll roll whatever else. But I can tell you from what my conversation with the communities, every community has 10, 20 miles of road that's bad. So spending $28 million is going to go like this. And the conversation I've had with some of the communities that have reached out is, if you want to do major reconstruction and you need to do design, you can spend portion of your money this year and spend the rest next year. It allows you enough time to design it. But there are a lot of communities, what they want to do is what we call log job. That is, I want to remove, these 10 squares of concrete in this block, then 5 in the next block, and they can identify, we can paint that and get a contractor, and they can saw cut it, take it out and rebuild that. And their roads are going to be much more drivable. You don't need design for that. We just need to go out with an engineer and log those jobs. Or if it's asphalt, it's mill and overlay. If it's just your traditional standard mill and overlay, we can just go in there, set our levels, know where our drainages are, and mill that. Those are things we can still get done this year. But to get $40 million of work done, we can do that because there's the need. So we don't need to be any more or less aggressive than we are.
So I'm glad to hear what you just mentioned. They did that in Dearborn on Michigan and Outer Drive, where they went in, they did the mill and overlay. That didn't require a lot of engineering, so to speak. But I'm glad to see that this is an option. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So how many townships are there in Wayne County?
9.
9. So how are you going to communicate this pavement criteria to each township?
So we currently have relationship with all of them. So once this goes through, the commission will launch the program before the March 17th date that we put in there. We'll send them all an email with the application form that I say will be ready to be sent out within 24 hours of your approval. We'll send it out to them. We'll get on the phone with them. We'll walk them through the needs that they will have identified or they have identified. And so that's the way I'm thinking we're going to walk with them. I think it's more of one-on-one to walk them through issues than just leave them out there to do a seminar or webinar or whatever. So that's the way I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm trying to check dates here. So we're here today on the 11th. Don't we have this has to go through full board? Yes, no?
So this is
This is
just discussion,
discussion.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not an action item. So, okay, so I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have to, okay, very good. Thank you.
Commissioner Baker McCormick.
How much do we get each year in funding, federal funding for, is there a separate fund that we get for or funding for our townships? What does that look like?
Thank you for that question. We get about $25 million from the federal government through our federal aid projects. And they have criteria that is generally required for federal aid program project. They have to be on NHS, National Highway System, and things like that. Again, for the amount of needs, the county has over 5,400 miles of roadway. $25 million they drop in the bucket. Now, we also have, so just to go over and above the question you're asking, we get money from gas tax, okay? And that's the money that goes into maintenance, salting, sweeping, all of those things that we do. Now, the priority others, right? We take care of the biggest road first, then we take out the road that connects, then we take care of the roads that connect them. So unfortunately, the roads that we're talking about today, they are not the highest on the priority list, right? And townships, unlike cities, the allocation of funds is not as easy as the dedicated funds. So we end up taking care of those roads for them, especially those unpaved roads, especially unpaved roads. But we're talking about all roads right now, not paved and unpaved in the township. So that's the ranking, and that's why this commission have identified that we need to set aside funding to ensure that we can address those roads. So it goes outside of the priority of needs, right? Priorities of traffic volume, priority of those priorities. These funds is dedicated solely for the township roads.
Okay, and so how much in gas tax then, approximately?
Approximately over 100,000, or under $100 million, about $100 million.
100 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the 14, well, we just talked about two numbers, 7
That was seven.
million
Mhm.
and 7 million.
Mhm.
That's coming out of the 25, is
No.
that? No, this is
That's coming,
separate.
this separate is coming out of the 100 million or so
Okay, of the gas tax.
of the gas. tax.
Okay, so this is an amount coming out of the gas tax.
If I make any
Is
mistake,
that
you guys
correct?
correct.
Okay. Okay, and so we get this 7 million, or you're actually putting together a program that we get 7 million
From
from the
100
gas
million,
tax. each year? Is this going to be ongoing or is this?
It's left to you all, but my expectation
Right.
it will be ongoing. yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to clarify. Okay, so if the prior year was 7 million
Mhm.
that we set aside,
Mhm.
I think it's been maybe about 4 years since we had a official program.
That's correct.
Did we
2019.
allocate any funds to this programming in the prior years before that? I'm just wondering, did we give those townships any money before this 7 and 7? Any?
So I have Deputy Division Director. Alan Coe.
Alan Coe, I'm the Assistant Division Director of Engineering. We started in fiscal year 2014, and I believe in 2018 and 2019. And in 2019, we suspend the program.
Okay. So since 2019, we really haven't provided any funding to the townships
That-
for,
Yes, that is correct.
okay. All right, and I'm just trying to clarify this because my township is alluding to the fact that we should be giving more. And it's looking like we haven't been giving the funding towards projects since, I guess, 2019. The last question, you said you spoke with the townships or some of the townships already about this program?
That's correct.
Okay, is that all of them
No,
or?
not all of them. As again, we have not launched the program.
Right,
We've not spoken to you all.
right.
So it's almost premature, but you have relationships that you bounce ideas off of and things like that before you roll. So officially, I haven't spoken with them, but unofficially, I bounce things across. So you know that you get some feedback.
Right,
And
right.
you where the shoe pinches.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify if we talked to them. And so the sentiments from, I guess, the few that you talked to, they thought that the program is a good fit for most townships. Because I'm just concerned about whether some townships have a little bit, that they have more resources than others. So,
So we're trying to solve issues with a limited bucket of money, but the issues in different townships are different, right? The abilities, the need, what each township is already doing is kind of different. So we're going to need to find a way, once we get the program running, to find a way to support townships a little differently, because not all townships are created equal.
okay.
So that's a challenge we have. There's some townships that already have funds set aside to match this program, and they're already doing some things. They
Okay.
passed ballot proposals that puts money aside to match this. Some townships are not there. I look at the last program before we suspended, even though there was no match required, some township took 100% of the money allocated. Some township did not take it, right? So it's my job to make sure that we find a way to make the maximum impact. God Almighty, if I have 14 million and I can make $28 million impact, my goal is to make $28 million impact. So I'm now going to need to reach out to these communities, find out how do we make an impact. I would like for them to come up with some money to match.
And
I'm
if
not
they
sure.
don't have the money,
And I'm not sure all of them will, but I'm not going to commit to anything at this table that I'm going to fund or match that. But the committee has opportunity to appeal to the county executive to see if there are things that can be done for them. But the goal is to make maximum impact. Let me put it that way.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And before we go to Commissioner Daub, then Commissioner Baydoun, I just want to follow up on the notification, if you will, to the 9 communities. I would hope there would be an active reach out to them rather than just saying, well, we put it on our website, and if you didn't see it, too bad. We need an actual communication, please, to go out. I think it's apparent to everybody here that the commission is fully supportive of this program. Commissioner Daub.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the risk of being redundant and repeating Commissioner Clementi's question about voting on this. So I understand today is a discussion, but I just want to confirm that the commission is not voting to approve this program. Is that correct? I don't know if that's a
Counselor,
question for our.
I'm gonna call on Felicia Johnson. I don't believe we have to approve the concept of a township road initiative.
Through the chair to this honorable body, as presented today, no, you are not voting for this. It is something that the administration is going to implement based on the budget that this body has allocated. However, I will say as a caveat that if in the future this body decides that they want to formalize via ordinance an actual initiative, and I believe we can do so similar to something like parks, but that is a discussion I think you can have later depending on how this works out.
Okay.
Thank you.
and Then I'm going to follow that up. And announced on April 14th. That is also something that the commission will not approve, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And eventually we will approve the contracts for the work, but we're not going to approve the list of which construction projects were chosen for which communities. I would also like to ask that when this project rolls out next week and you let all of the communities know, could the commissioners be included in that? Because a lot of us have good relationships with our townships and our township engineers and supervisors, that we can, make sure that they're aware of it, that they got the communication, everything's confirmed.
Absolutely. We'll make sure, we have a letter drafted. I'm just going to let you in on that.
Right.
We have a form drafted. We finish this, we're all on the same page. We'll get the letters out. We'll copy the commissioner's office. And we're only talking about 9 communities, and the phone works. So I'm going to be on the phone, just make sure all of them understand. Our engineering group will be on the phone to make sure they understand. We can walk them through. If there's a question from the commission, from the commissioners, Ashley will be there to answer any of those questions. So we're going to be supportive. My goal is for us to make an impact.
Yes.
And you guys are giving me the tool to be able to do that. We would like to make an impact.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Baydoun, followed by Commissioner Garza.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Final question from me, Mr. Dio. We have 9 townships and 1,000 lane miles, as you mentioned. If you were to, I don't want to put you on the spot, but which township would you say has the worst road condition out of those 9? And if we go to one of those townships and they say, and you tell them that we're going to do a project, but you have to match and they don't have the money, do we skip over that township and move to the next township?
The answer will be no, at least not fully. But the goal is not, look, we want to make an impact. And if I could put $2 million or $1.5 million, depending on how the numbers shakes out, in each community, we want to do that. If you can match it, that's $2 million, potentially $3.5, $4 million. That is what we would like to encourage everybody to do. So my position would not be outright to say, yep, it will be no match, because what you will get, you're just going to get a $7 million impact or a $14 million impact, and that's it. We're going to work with the community. We're going to work with the executive office to see what can be done to ensure that those impacts are met. The first round, and you all will know once we announce the first round, we'll see if only 2 or 3 communities take advantage of it. And that will be my report card, so to speak. My goal is to find a way to do it. But without committing the county executive to say, you know, I'm just going to put my hand in his pocket to give me matching fund for every community. I want to be very, very, very careful on that kind of level of commitment. But the commitment is not just to automatically jump over and spend the money, all the money in 1 or 2 communities. I don't have, and I can, SEMCOG has a very good road report system that I would have loved to share. You know, we all can go road jurisdiction, a map. You can go in there and look at the community and sort things and look at who has the worst road and things like that. But we're not going to just select this by who has the worst road. I think when you look at road, again, the joke is I'm a recovering engineer. For a good chunk of my career, I was a pavement engineer for MDOT, covering the whole of Southeast Michigan. And I understand there's more than one criteria to picking a pavement that you fix. And that's why we talk about the amount of traffic it carries, right? If there is a road that carries only 10 residents, those are 10 important residents. But if I only have $100,000 to spend, will I put it on where those 10 residents, when they join the next road, that's where 200 people get to before they get to the main road, right? Now you prioritize it like that because now you make the most impact. But that doesn't mean that the need of 2, 3, or 10 people is not important. But if I just look at it, those are the worst road and I spend money there. When those 3 or 10 people get out of that street, they still get on the street that 200 people drive and 200 cars potentially are going through that. So we're going to need to prioritize. Now, if there's a firehouse down the road, if there's a school down the road, there's more than 10 people that drive that road to get to the school. Those become the reasons and the way we're going to prioritize this.
Thank you.
To that point, Commissioner Daub.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Am I correct in interpreting this initiative as sort of a supplement to the regular construction projects that the county implements?
Yes.
Okay, so because townships, you know, they don't have their own DPS systems and so it's not like these are the only projects that townships are going to
Thank you
get
very
for
much.
this year. So but it's a little bit extra.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right, so that's
So-
how we should be thinking of this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And we've so much focused on the Township Road Initiative Program that we're not talking about the holistic program.
Mhm.
And in the next 3 weeks or so, we're going to be putting out our program. And I think we're probably close to 100% complete on the program, 99 point something or 90% plus complete on the program. This will be rolled out alongside with it, but we have a lot of projects that we do. Every year we do close to about 150 lane miles of resurfacing throughout the county, right? That's before we even add the ones that we spend federal $8 on, right? Now that's before we add the bridges, right? So there's a whole lot of money that we spend in the community. This is just a supplement, an add-on, because how else will I get to a residential street when I have 5 Mile Road that's not been done and I have Van Born that's not been done, or, you know, Middle Belt or Inkster Road that's not been done, right? By the time I finish all of those residential streets in our subdivision, there will be craters by that time. So we said we're going to prioritize this $7 million a year to knock out some of those residential streets and some of those streets in the township.
Thank you.
Commissioner Garza, you are next, but I do want to just get a clarification on your match answer. I believe you said earlier the max any one township can get is $1 million.
again, I was working on the 7 million.
Yes,
Once we confirm it's 14 million, again, it changes but it's the same math. It's just order of scale. So rather than go to the first round of 1 million, we can say the first round will be 1.7, 1.8, whatever the 14 million divided by 9, if somebody's math is better than me, right? Than mine, whatever that number is, that's what we're going to say will be the first round.
to scale, first round.
Thank you.
But if a township says, yes, we have a need, but we don't have any match money, the county is not going to double up, if you will, and provide the match money. The extent of the project would be what the county can put in without the township match. Is
That's
that
correct.
accurate?
That's correct.
Just wanted to confirm.
That's correct.
Thank you, Commissioner Garza, followed by Commissioner Kinlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director and Deputy Director, for being here. I think it's just important to point out too that townships, when I first started here last year and got appointed to the commission, the first thing I heard was from Brownstown Township in my district about the roads, right? And in particular, residential roads, because townships, the county has responsibility over residential roads, and the townships, like cities, do for their own communities. So it's not the townships responsible for their residential streets, like cities. If on Jackson Street in Taylor, which is a city, they'd call the city for those responsibility, but we have a much different level of responsibility at the county for these roads, and a lot of them in disrepair. So they don't receive the same act dollars that cities receive for their roads as townships do. So it's really important that we put a fine point on that. But one question I had to follow up on the funding of the project. So I think Commissioner Clementi did the math, and it's about $1.55 million. If we were to say 9 communities, townships that would qualify for these projects. So after the first round, though, if we don't get up to those 9 projects, let's say, the second round of this, will communities be able to qualify for several projects if everyone qualifies for the first round, they don't make it to every community? How will that work out? Or are you looking to make sure that there's an opportunity for each of these 9 communities? Because there might be a township that says we really don't want to do a project, or don't have the ability to do the project. So I just wanted to hear from you all exactly what are you expecting? Will there be multiple projects for townships in the second round? Obviously, we're looking to do a first round with many townships as possible, but what does that second round look like, and will that be something that will be taken into consideration?
Thank you, Commissioner. So the first round, we might still, again, we're going with the 7 million before. This changes the game. We could say 1.5 million, one will amend this when we roll out the letter to reflect 14 million. I'm going to make sure that we confirm that with Office of Chief Financial Officer before to make sure everybody's on the same page. But with Commissioner Kinlock and Mr. Adams, I want to hope it's 14 million, and I'm going to do my darndest to make sure it's 14 million. But, so we'll roll out $1.5 million for the first one. I pray everybody's able to match 1-to-1. But some communities, the reality is they won't be able to match. But will the county executive put down 1.5 for all of them? I don't think so. But we're going to do whatever we can to make sure they can get a portion of it. Once we roll that out, and we would not know how much until we see the response from each of the community, right? Then we know what's left. What's left will now be prioritized with the community that has enough money to match to take advantage of the remainder of the money based on needs, based on whatever it is they've submitted. So quite frankly, if there's any community listening right now, and in my conversation with them, don't just limit yourself to the first 1.5 million, especially if you can match it. Submit 3 million, submit 4 million if you can match it, whatever you can match, because they will go around the first round, then we'll be able to determine how much we have left. Then we'll now look at, based on what everybody has left who is interested in the second round, what's the order of importance, not of importance, order of priority
Yeah.
based on some of the criteria that we've said before.
Thank you.
Or one final, go ahead,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
I just wanted to just wrap up with, just wanted to thank all of my colleagues too, because I think most of our commissioners, they don't have townships in their districts. I think it's important to note that this is a supplemental program. I think the chairman of the Ways and Means as well. I think this is a great program. Our townships just don't have access to a lot of the capital that cities do, and we're looking at the ACT dollars that go to cities, and so I just think this is so important when we're looking at townships and how their roads have been in disrepair for a long time, and I think this is a good first step with the county continuing towards that progress. And like you said, it is a drop in the bucket, but we have to start somewhere with this program and see how this works and how we continue it into the future. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson, then Commissioner Kinlock.
Thank you, Chair Palomero. Just quickly, obviously, and I'm not trying to be specific, but District 11 has 3 townships totaling over 45,000 people, which makes up pretty much half of my district. And I can say, sitting here today as a relatively new commissioner, that there are a lot of issues in the townships as far as roads are concerned. And I say that to say this. Miss Ashley McAdoo sitting to my right, I think she knows me very well because we've been in contact and communication with the residents in my specific area when they have issues with their roads. So, and again, thank you for your help, Ms. McAdoo. I know you're getting tired of me sometimes, but thank you for coming through for me. I appreciate it. And calling the residents, by the way, which gives it a personal feel. When the residents talk to me, they say, Ms. McAdoo gave me a call personally and said, this is what we're going to try and do. This is accountability. This is coming from Wayne County Commission. And it's just absolutely fantastic because people that I understand, I haven't been used to that type of personal interaction, if you will, from the county. So having said that, $100 million, I heard you talk about the $100 million that's set aside. And I also understand, as Commissioner Garza said, that the townships don't have the opportunities that the cities have, if you will. And when you talk about $100 million and you talk about all the roads that need to be paved, is this fund specifically for the unpaved roads, the dirt roads, or is it going to be intertwined with residential roads that need maybe some repair work that have been damaged, that salt trucks have, over a period of years, have damaged those roads that they need to be repaired? So specifically for dirt roads, or are we going to intertwine residential roads?
Thank you for your question.
Sure.
The $100 million is not just for road reconstruction only. It's for capital project, it's for operations, right? Snow and ice treatment. It's for pothole patching. It's not just for reconstruction, right? It's also for those equipment that we use in maintaining those.
Okay.
Okay. But to the specific question of the 7 million or the 40 million, this initiative is for all the roads in a township. So a township can say, hey, DPS, we have this gravel road. We would like to turn it into asphalt road. We're petitioning you to use, we're going to put $1 million down, add $1 million to it, give us $2 million of paved road on this particular road. That becomes something that we will be willing to work with them on. So that money is for any roads and all the roads in that township, you know, but they have to prioritize it based on the distress on the road, on the uses, right? Put some metrics in there. So I'm not just doing this road because it's in front of Commissioner Wilson's house, right? Therefore, we're not doing the road that we all drive on. We need to put some priorities in it. And it should be open to everybody and they can look at it. Even if they don't agree because we didn't pave the road in front of their house, they can look at it and say, okay, they have some merit.
Okay, so if I could follow up, please. As a council member in the city of Romulus, we had a project last year that I think Darren Camilleri was responsible for bringing in $7 million from the state to help us with the Wayne Road. There were a lot of issues with Wayne Road, and it only covered, I believe, a couple of miles.
Excuse me, Commissioner, I think you might have missed the earlier part of our meeting. when I did say to the crowd that if anybody has particular questions about roads in their district, that they're best to be handled directly in meeting with, out of respect for everybody else's time. So if you want to rephrase your question or hold it off for another time, that would fit in with how the whole meeting has been conducted. Please.
Thank you, Chair Parlamero, and I think I did hear you,
Okay.
but I sort of forgot what you said, so excuse me for that. When I get involved and get engaged and get intense about representing people, sometimes I don't hear the noise. But no disrespect to you, sir, I'll cut it right there. I'll speak to you later, sir.
Very good.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
You bet.
And I'll tell you, Commissioner Wilson is in our ears all the time. We get calls from him, and him and Ashley are best buddies by now because I see all of those exchanges. So thank you very much for your engagement and for representing your community. Continue to talk to us. We'll make sure that we share the information with you. We educate you. We're going to take you to some of our yards and take you some of the roads so that you're knowledgeable about that. And the compliment you paid Ashley earlier, very well deserved. And I hope all the commissioners here, they can bear witness. Ashley's been doing a fantastic job for us. And so thank you all for the engagement.
No, thank you. And very, very quickly, Commissioner McCormick and then Commissioner Kinlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ashley. That is so right. She's on point, on time, every time. So, I just want to clarify. So you said if the first round, certain communities don't match, but there's another community that matches 4 million, 5 million. Then what happens to the community that can't match? What happens to the funds?
So I'm just going to be as plain as possible. We have $14 million. One township says, I have $1 million. We give them $1 million. Another township says, I have 1.5 million. We give them 1.5 million. At the end of the day, if half of the community only able to come up with $1 million each, there's $500,000 from 4 communities. That's $2 million left. We have to redistribute the money somehow. If you can match it, we'll give it to, there's a leftover fund, we'll redistribute it to whoever has the ability to match it. It's unfortunate area of it's just unfortunate. Now, there are some communities who don't have that and we work with, but I don't think we're going to provide $1.5 million to help them match $1.5 million. Right? So now the first year is going to be the roughest one because the next year it allows community to now know that, oh, there's this $1 million that we can match or whatever it is that you all set aside for next year. Right? And they now can gear up and prepare their community, their HOA, to be able to get advantage of this fund.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to clarify if they'll get any funds if they can't match the $1 million. I mean, they'll be left out if they can't match at all?
We just said if they can't match,
right,
we'll work with them to find money to match. But it would not be 100%.
Okay, that's all.
Right? It will not be 100%. They will get something. But whatever is left, we will have to redistribute it to people who can match.
Thank you. And the final comment on this discussion goes to the Chairman of Ways and Means, Commissioner Kinlock.
Yeah, my question is, in regards to the 14 million, because we've been working on it so long, and I'm just happy we've gotten to this point. That you can get back with us as far as clarification and certification that both myself and our fiscal director basically have stated that $14 million was allocated. If you can get that back to us today on that, that'd be greatly appreciated.
I can promise you within the next 1 hour, there'll be an email.
We have a Ways and Means meeting. I think some folks from management budget will be there in an hour at noon. Yeah.
There'll be an email to Terrence and to our agency CFO, Ms. Alicia Baker-Giles, and I would need to make sure that they confirm that. The more we have, the better for me. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director, to you and your team. Just to let everybody know, we have 7 action items and 3 minutes before the next committee is scheduled to begin. So I hope we can proceed efficiently. Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year contract with a 1-year option to renew with Usinage Pro 24 Inc., DBA Nordic Blades, to continue providing various snowplow blades and shoes for the Department of Public Services Equipment Division.
Any questions on item 2? Hearing and seeing none. Next item. We'll do a motion at the end to approve them all. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 3, requesting commission approval of a cooperative agreement with Truck and Trailer Specialties for the purchase of 15 attenuator trailers for the Department of Public Services Equipment Division.
Any questions on item 3? Hearing and seeing none. Next item.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year professional services contract with 1 2-year option to renew with Plant Moran Real Point LLC to provide commercial real estate services, including brokerage, consulting, and/or market analysis services on a commission basis.
Any questions on that item? Seeing none. Next item.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year professional services agreement with a 2-year option to renew with Summit Commercial LLC to continue to provide real estate consulting and appraisal services for select county properties on a commission basis.
Any questions on that item?
Mr. Chair, I would like
Yes.
to be the maker of the motion on this item.
So acknowledged. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 6, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 24-month grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, Office of Safety for the fiscal year 2023 Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program for the Department of Public Services Comprehensive Safety Action Plan.
Any questions? Next item.
Item 7, requesting commission approval of a resolution to change the current road system to add and accept jurisdiction and control over all Fernwood Road, Branch Court, Branch Drive, Braymore Drive, and Braymore Court, and Laird Lane in the Willowbrook Village subdivision in Can Township for public road purposes.
Any questions on that item? Would you like to be maker of that motion?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I'm not on this committee, but can I ask why we're taking this over, or why it wasn't a county road to begin with?
Alan, do you want to join us and address that, please?
Turn your microphone on.
Good morning again. Alan Ko, I'm the Assistant Division Director of Engineering. So basically, all subdivision road belongs to Wayne County. We have a jurisdiction. We need to maintain them. So that is the regulation.
Was this a private road?
All
when it was built?
subdivisions, gonna be all road streets in a subdivision, they need to be turned over to Wayne
Oh,
County.
okay, because this was a new subdivision? it's
Yes,
just
yes,
oh,
it's a new
got
subdivision.
it.
So,
All right, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 8, requesting commission approval of a 3-year agreement with 2 1-year options to renew, with 2 3-year options to renew with Friends of the Detroit River and Downriver Link Greenways Initiative for construction, intersection improvements, and other amenities for the Downriver Link Greenway segment of the Iron Bill Trail along West Jefferson Avenue.
Any questions on item 8? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order to approve items 2 through 8. Commissioner Kinlock to be the maker of the motion on item 5.
We have a motion by Kinlock. I support.
Oh, very good. There is a motion, there is support.
So the makers will be noted for full board, but not for committee.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be noted for full board.
Now we can vote.
All those in favor, vote at your tablet.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I see none. Next item.
G, public comments.
Is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment today that's in the room or has emailed or is on Zoom?
No emails are received and no one on Zoom with a hand raised.
Very good. We thank Commissioner and Chair Marecki for participating remotely today, or at least watching, not participating. Let me clarify. Hearing and seeing no other public comment. Madam Clerk.
Adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Baydoun, supported by Commissioner Clemente, and at 12:02, we stand adjourned.